Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the English news from Djibouti channels. Here are the top stories of our editions tonight. The head of state received this morning the Ethiopian Minister of Defense who are visiting in Djibouti. On continental news, Malta allows 49 migrants stranded off coast to Denmark. That were our top stories, and if you are joining us in Djibouti channels, welcome. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, received today, late Thursday morning, the new Minister of Defense of Ethiopia, Asha Mohamed Musa, carrying a verbal message from the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali. This hearing allowed the new Ethiopian Minister of Defense a first taking of contact. The message to President Guelleh was a reaffirmation of the Prime Minister of Ethiopia to work to strengthen the already privileged relations and partnership that exists between the two countries and the two peoples. In addition to the first topic, the meeting served the head of state and the new Minister of Defense of Ethiopia to discuss the progress of the many projects underway between the two nations, the Republic of Djibouti and the Democratic and Federal Republic of Ethiopia maintain strategic and win-win partnership in almost all areas of development. The successful nature of their corporations today is such that both countries serve as a model of success for economic integrations in Africa. Apart from the bilateral aspect, the discussions between the President of the Republic and the Ethiopian Minister of Defense have been extended to the main issues on the agenda in the region. Minister of Presidency in charge of investment, Mr. Ali Guelleh Abubakar, the Minister of Defense of Djibouti in charge of relation with the Parliament, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdoun, as well as the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, took part in this meeting. Also noteworthy is the presence of these talks of the head of national security, Mr. Hassan Said Khaira, as well as the Chief of General Staff of Djiboutian Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. On the Ethiopian side, the charged Minister of Embassy of the Democratic and Federal Republic of Ethiopia to the Republic of Djibouti, Mohammed Hassan, attend the meeting. In a statement to the press, the Minister of Defense of Ethiopia, Engineer Asha Mohamed Musa, said that this meeting allowed her to make a first contact with President Guelleh since she was appointed to this post. She conveyed the greetings of the people and the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to President Guelleh, who is a leader who matter the great regional issues. She said the two countries are linked by strong secular links and the same communities in Djibouti and Ethiopia, and the discussions have focused on ways and means to strengthen people's development. The meeting also allowed the Defense Minister Asha Mohamed Musa to take advice from President Guelleh, who is a connoisseur of major regional issues. It has reaffirmed the excellent relations and effort well made to boost the development relations between the two sister countries. For his part, the Djiboutian Defense Minister, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdoun, stressed the importance of relations between Djibouti and Ethiopia, and the two defense ministers are working closely to develop the Djiboutian and Ethiopia peoples who share the same values, he concluded. Under the presidency of His Excellency Mohammed Ali Hamad and his accordance with the Article 22, Paragraph 1 and 2 of the Rule of Procedures, the Conference of Presidents of the National Assembly was held on Thursday, 10 January 2019 in the premise of the Parliament in order to set the agenda for paying bills and the date of the next plenary meeting. This conference, the government was represented by the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed. Also participating in this meeting where the vice president, the member of the office, as well as the chairman of the standing committee and parliamentary groups and the general reporter of the budget. The conference of the president dealt first with the transmissions to the relevant standing committee of 6 bills, two of which were under emergency procedures about draft law number 25 year on the organization of the Ministry of Labor and for the reform of administration examined by the Committee on Legislations on 12 number 2018. The second draft is about the establishment of the National Institute of Statistics of Djibouti, tablet in Parliament on 2 October. About the third paragraph, it was the institutionalizations of creche and nurseries table in Parliament on 3rd October, and the fourth is financing agreement of the purchase of refined petroleum product table in Parliament on the 7th November of the Republic in Djibouti. The other hand, the dispositives in Parliament in emergency procedures on 3 January 2019, laying down the conditions of entry and residence in the Republic of Djibouti in the tablet in the Parliament of urgent procedures online. The conference then discussed the date of the plenary session is scheduled for Thursday. Since their creations in 2011, the Djiboutian Coast Guard, whose mission is to oversee our territorial water, celebrated this morning at the directions of operation of this body located at the fishing port, the 8th anniversary of their creation. Since early morning, Coast Guards and their commander, Colonel Wais Umar Bokore, all dressed in ceremonial suit, were waiting at the gate of this camp near the fishing port to welcome their guests, sponsored by the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed. The ceremony brought together on the spot of the President of the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali Hamad, the Minister of Transport and Equipment, Mr. Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa, several other members of the government took part in this ceremony. After that, upon arrival at the camp, Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil was welcomed by the Transport Minister Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa and Colonel Wais Umar Bokore. The Prime Minister reviewed the Coast Guard's honor troops before taking his place in the official gallery. Several speeches marked this event, starting with the Coast Guard commander, followed by the Minister of Transport and Equipment, Minister responsible for Coast Guard. As required by the protocol, the Prime Minister is expressed the last. The celebration of this 7th anniversary was an opportunity for Coast Guard Commander Colonel Wais Umar Bokare to take a retrospective look and provide a comprehensive review of the effort, results, challenge and opportunity that lie ahead. After that, the Minister of Transport, Mr. Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa, said transboundary of the maritime space exists in all seas, but it's stayed up to each country to secure its maritime space and preserve its resource. There is sovereignty national. It's in this concern of the security and integrity of our maritime area that this Coast Guard institutions was created, that we are celebrating today its 8th anniversary. Speaking the last, the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed said that the maritime area represents major economic, social and security issues for our country, which has a strategically exceptional geographical positions with control of the South Bank and the Strait of the Bab el-Mandeb. After the official speech, the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, as well as the Minister of Transport and his government colleagues, were invited to present the trimmings to three officials who have demonstrated an exceptional accomplishment of the mission that they were devoted to them. There are two general doctor and a doctor in maritime affairs, for example, Colonel Wais. Omar Bakr presented gifts to the Prime Minister, the Minister of Equipment and Transport, as well as the Minister of the Budget. Subsequently, officials and other guests attended martial arts demonstrations by the Commando Counter-Terrorism who fight against the terrorism unit, a maritime maneuver, and the Commando unit fighting against maritime piracy. The Minister of Muslims Affairs, Culture and Welfare, Waqf, Mr. Momin Hassan Barre, signed today at the Minister Headquarters a partnership agreement with the Director General of the National Agency for the Disabled, Mr. Ali Said Mahmoud. This convention is part of the social policy led by the government under the leadership of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh. This partnership will consolidate social gains that are intended to provide accessibility services and meet some of the basic needs of people with disabilities. At this signing ceremony, the ministers Momin Hassan Barre stressed that this department will put in place an actions plan for the benefit of disabled people to enable them to flourish and play their full role in the society. The Minister of Health, Dr. Jam Al-Maukia, has presided over this morning a restitutions meeting on the evaluations of the polyclinic activities. In fact, the inspectors of health in charge of the investigations have presented the outcome of the works on the functioning of the polyclinic for the inaugurations of this polyclinic in 2018. Several recommendations have been formulated in order to answer to their performance criteria and to respect for the regulations. Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, Minister of Higher Education and Research, its colleague of the National Education and Professional Training, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, have signed this morning a partnership agreement in the ICT's fields. The ceremony of signature took place in the presence of executives and responsible of the two ministerial departments. This partnership agreement aims a series of objectives, including the promotions of pedagogical use of the numeric tools for the education and training, but also for the development of technical tools to facilitate the administrative management based on the results of institutions of education and training. The Minister of National Education, Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, has indicated that this agreement will formalize this cooperation that exists between the two ministries for a long time and will allow to set the numerical policy of the MINFAB. As for the Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed has expressed delighted the work with his colleague of the MINFOB to optimize the capacities, the means and resources to provide nothing but the best for the educational and training system. Let's move on the international news. In Malta, where 49 migrants trained off the coast to Denmark. For more, let's follow the report. Hidayah Mohammed.
It is the end of the ordeal for 49 migrants who have been wandering for several weeks. They were able to land in Valletta after an agreement found in the European Union. This agreement also concerns 249 other migrants already present in Malta who will be hosted in a dozen countries or sent back to their country of origin. While Malta refused to allow humanitarian ships to land, its coast guards rescued 249 migrants at the end of December and brought them ashore as required by maritime law. Valletta therefore logically asked that the agreement concerns all migrants, in total 298 people. 78 of them remain in Malta, the smallest country in the Union, but 44 Bangladesh should be returned to their country, according to statements by Prime Minister Joseph Muscat, who believes that these people have no reason to seek asylum in Malta. Knowing that before a referral, the asylum procedure must be investigated in accordance with European legislations. 220 people will be divided between Germany, France, Portugal, Ireland, Romania, Italy, and the like.
In United States, where Donald Trump reached the Mexican border to defend all projects.
Trump travels to Texas on the Mexican border this Thursday to defend its wall project. The U.S. president is expected to hammer his ultra-safe speech after a meeting with the Democratic leaders of the Congress. While the shutdown continues in the United States, Donald Trump announced on Twitter that he slammed the door of a meeting supposed to lead to a way out of the crisis. The Democratic leaders categorically opposed to the construction of this wall at the border till the meeting with the president upon their release. 800,000 people have been unemployed since December 22, while Democrats refuse to vote the necessary credits for the construction of the wall, Donald Trump's campaign promise. The U.S. president seems determined to make this shutdown, which is the second longest in the U.S. history.
Here we arrive at the end of this news edition. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye.